You're sitting in meditation when the sense of being you completely disappears. Your world, your body, the cushion beneath you, everything dissolves into pure awareness. There is no separation between observer and observed, no inside or outside, just infinite consciousness experiencing itself. Or maybe you're walking in nature when suddenly the trees aren't separate from you anymore. You're the wind, the leaves, the earth beneath your feet. Overwhelming love floods through every cell. Time stops. You understand with absolute clarity that everything is one seamless whole. Or maybe during breath work, when your entire identity structure collapses. The story of who you think you are crumbles away, leaving only boundless presence. Pure ecstasy moves through you. You see with crystal clarity that what you've been searching for was never missing. But then normal life creeps back in. The feeling fades. You're back at work, dealing with people, paying bills. The unity becomes just a memory. The clarity gets cloudy again. You sit with this strange contradiction. How can somebody so profound, so obviously true, just slip away like that? The experience felt more real than anything you'd ever known. Yet here you are again, caught up in the same old patterns, the same familiar sense of separation. Maybe you try to recreate it. You return to the same meditation spot, the same breathing technique, the same walking path. But it's like trying to catch lightning in a bottle. The harder you grasp, the more elusive it becomes. This is when the real questions begin to surface. If that was awakening, why didn't it stick? What if those peak moments aren't the destination at all? Before we continue, if you're ready to break free from the repeating patterns that hold you back, check out my free guide, 5 Inner Blocks That Keep You from Deep Spiritual Growth. The link is waiting for you in the top comment below. Those experiences are tiny glimpses through a doorway. You haven't made it to the destination yet, but your mind will want to make them bigger than they are. You may want to tell yourself, I'm awakened now, or I finally found the answer. But those moments are only there to point you where to go. You still have to walk the path. They show you what's possible, not what you've achieved forever. The real change happens in the quiet moments between these big experiences. Most people, unfortunately, get stuck trying to recreate the peaks instead of actually focusing on the deep insights. And here's where it gets tricky. Your ego shows up. You start seeing yourself as awakened or evolved because of these experiences. This creates a new kind of prison. You're now chasing peak states in order to maintain your new spiritual identity, while avoiding everything that doesn't fit your idea of who you're supposed to be now as a spiritual person. You may even develop black and white thinking. Good people versus bad people. Good experiences versus bad experiences. By constantly contrasting light versus dark, this makes you want to avoid thinking about all the messy parts of reality and the messy parts of yourself. That's how spiritual bypassing sneaks in. You use these experiences to avoid dealing with difficult emotions or shadowy stuff. The memory of the peak becomes your escape from actually being human. But here is what your mind misses. Real integration means you have to bring that deep insight into boring Tuesday afternoons without needing all the fireworks. The experience was never meant to be a permanent vacation from real life. It was meant to show you what exists beyond normal consciousness. Your spiritual ego wants to own the experience, make it a part of who you are. But the moment you try to grab it, you're right back where you started, feeling separate again. You're trying to claim ownership over something that can only be received with your ego out of the way. This is why the afterglow fades. Not because you messed up, but because trying to hold on to it recreates the exact ego structure the awakening temporarily dissolved. Your mind turns the medicine into another form of seeking. What if there is nothing to maintain? What if the experience was complete by itself, a perfect moment that doesn't need to be extended or repeated? The glimpse did its job by showing you what's hidden underneath your normal awareness. The real issue isn't how to make it last. It's how to let what you saw change how you live. That unity you experienced isn't something to achieve, it's something you recognize was always there. The peace you felt isn't a state to reach, it's the peace that's left when you stop creating disturbance within yourself. This recognition happens slowly, quietly, through how you respond to traffic jams and difficult conversations, through whether you can stay open when someone pushes your buttons, through whether you can find that same spaciousness while doing the dishes that you found in your peak experience. The glimpse showed you your true nature. The path is learning to live from that recognition, even when the fireworks aren't going off, even when you feel ordinary, reactive, completely unenlightened, especially then. Those powerful spiritual experiences eventually give way to something more subtle. In later stages, the dramatic peaks stop and get replaced with quiet insights. All the real work happens in the quiet integration between these moments. The actual destination has no bells and whistles. It's remarkably ordinary. Real awakening shows up in how you respond to traffic jams, difficult people, and boring Tuesday afternoons. You go through the shift in your values and identity that happens gradually, almost invisibly. It's what some call the secondary shift, when the insight from peak experiences slowly rewrites how you see yourself and others. This process takes years and doesn't feel dramatic or special. You become less reactive, more accepting, but in such a natural way that you barely notice. Your friends might say you seem calmer, but you can't pinpoint when it happened. The change feels so organic, it's like you've always been this way. You stop needing peak experiences because you no longer depend on them for validation or proof. You quit chasing the next retreat, the next breakthrough, the next teacher promising enlightenment. Not because you've given up, but because you found what you were looking for in the space between seeking. Awakening moments keep happening, and each one recalibrates your inner compass. They're natural course corrections. Awakening is an ongoing process, not some permanent state you achieve once. The slow adjustments are the evidence that you're on the right path. Each recalibration gets more subtle. Where you once needed dramatic shifts to recognize your true nature, now watching clouds can trigger the same recognition. The volume turns down, but the clarity increases. You discover awakening isn't about maintaining a particular state of consciousness. It's about recognizing that all states arise within the same unchanging awareness. The frustrated you, the peaceful you, the confused you, they are all temporary visitors in the same infinite space. This recognition brings a different kind of freedom. You stop trying to be a good spiritual person and start being more authentic. You stop avoiding your shadow and start integrating it. You stop pretending you're above human emotions and start feeling them fully without identifying with them. Your spiritual identity dissolves, not through rejection but through expansion. You are no longer someone who has awakening experiences. You are the awareness in which all experiences arise. This isn't a concept you think about, it's a lived reality that shapes every interaction. Compassion emerges naturally, not as a practice but as recognition. When you see that everyone struggles with the same fundamental misunderstanding about their nature, judgment becomes impossible. Not because you learn to be non-judgmental, but because you see there is no reason to judge. The ordinary world becomes sacred, not because it has changed, but because your perception has expanded. Washing dishes becomes as profound as any meditation. Paying bills becomes participation in the human experience, rather than a burden to escape. This is where the path leads, not to a mountaintop of permanent bliss, but to the kitchen where you find the same peace you once sought in exotic locations. Not a state where nothing bothers you, but a place where you can be bothered without losing yourself in the disturbance. Before we wrap up, if you found this helpful and want to go deeper, remember that free download I mentioned, 5 inner blocks that keep you from deep spiritual growth. The link is waiting for you in the top comment below. The destination isn't some permanent peak state. It's a fundamental shift in how you see ordinary life. Those powerful experiences eventually give way to something more subtle, quieter but equally powerful. Trust the process, even when the fireworks fade and you're left with dirty dishes and bills, but also with a deeper understanding of who you really are. After all, once spiritual growth begins, it never stops. And the process will continue no matter what you do.